Hello, welcome to JupiterAudiobooks.com. I hope you enjoy this audio. Remember that you can find this and many other complete novels visiting our official website, JupiterAudiobooks.com. Get comfortable and enjoy the narration.
Clicking his tongue in disgust, he snatched his phone once more and tapped the Magi Tube icon. Oh, there you are, Anviat. I was looking for you. Wadash. But at that moment, a voice called out to him, and he fell forward from shock. The smartphone slipped from his hand and arced through the air, forcing him to chase after it as though practicing a strange dance of some kind. What are you doing? The person who had called out to him Irulka Flara watched through narrowed eyes. She clearly wasn't amused. Somehow, Anviat managed to catch the device just before it could hit the floor, then sharpening his gaze, he fixed Irulka in a glare. Shut up. What do you think you redoing, calling out to me like that? I wasn't trying to watch the live stream. I was just checking my schedule, you hear me? No one asked anything about that. NGH. Anviat grunted in frustration, before sitting up straight and turning to face his visitor. So what do you want, Irulka? He demanded. Oh, yes. She nodded, as though having forgotten her reason for reaching out to him. There's something I want you to do. Ha? And if I don't like it? He spat back with a venomous glower. Irulka, however, wore a quizzical look. Oh? Knowing you, I doubt that, she retorted, fixing him square in her sights. Judging by her tone, she seemed to honestly believe he couldn't possibly turn this request down. TCH. This was why he hated dealing with that moldy old mage. He let out an irritable click of the tongue and cupped his chin in one hand as he motioned for her to continue. After announcing the winner of the first round 2, will be all about sharing your true feelings. Sylvel declared to the audience from the center of the stage. Incidentally, Clara's smartphone was floating in front of her a short distance away. As to be expected of two machines, they were operating in perfect tandem. Sharing your true feelings? Mushiki repeated curiously. Yep. Came Sylvel's enthusiastic response. It is a beautiful thing when two people can understand each other implicitly, but there are some feelings that you can only convey through words and actions. So, Sachi, Clara and I am asking you to express your feelings for Mucky. The time limit is 5 minutes, so if you need anything, now is your chance to prepare. The winner will be the one who most effectively touches Mucky's heart. I see, given that Mushiki already likes Saika. Even so, he was still nervous. At that moment, Clara raised her hand. Yep. Sis. I have a question. What is it, Clarin? Are we allowed to do anything we want? You know, so long as we appeal to him? Yes. You're free to take any approach you like. Please convey your feelings to Mucky in the way you find most natural. So the one who makes Mushipi's heartbeat faster wins, right? Yes. Sylvel answered. Clara trailed off there, then licked her lips. Mushiki found himself shuddering involuntarily at her bewitching expression. He couldn't pin down the precise cause. Sylvel, however, was either unaware of Clara's gesture just then or else chose to ignore it, and instead she clapped her hands together. Then, in perfect coordination, the kitchen set and food pantry on stage descended once more below the floor. Now, Sachi went first in the last round, so let us start with Clarin this time. Is there anything you need? Right. How about? After sinking deep into thought for a moment, Clara whispered something into Sylvel's ear. Though the AI was just a three-dimensional projection, there must have been microphones somewhere nearby to pick up what was said. Understood, she responded. I'll get everything ready. She snapped her fingers and a large three-seater sofa rose up from beneath the stage. How about this? Yep, it is perfect. Way to go, sis. He. Sylvel's cheeks turned bright red from the compliment, making her look kind of cute. Alright, Mushiki. Clara here is going to win your heart, so stand right over there, she said, pointing to the freshly delivered sofa. Though still concerned about what she might be planning, Mushiki made his way to the couch as instructed. The time limit is 5 minutes. Let us get started, Sylvelle announced as a buzzer rang out. A large countdown timer appeared on the overhead projection screen, slowly ticking down to 0. Yeah, let us do this. Clara approached, her face tinged slightly red. Hey, Mushiki. I know we just met, but Clara here really likes you, you know? She said flirtatiously. Whoa! Echoed countless grief-stricken voices in the audience. Oh my god. But Clara acted as though she couldn't hear those lamentations and did not shift her gaze once, as if there were no one else present but the two of them. She was clearly serious about this, which was quite out of character, given her usual frivolous personality. Her stare pierced him through, and he found himself catching his breath. I told you, didn't I? Clara here, well, I am the kind of person who goes all out. I'll do anything for you, Mushiki, and I'll let you do anything to me. You don't believe me? You think I am just saying all this without meaning it? Then let me prove it to you. Ha! As Mushiki stared back wide-eyed, Clara's lips curled into a mysterious smile, her cheeks turning scarlet as she placed a hand on the hem of her skirt. Then, without warning, she pulled it up at one side. Ha! Hold on. His vision swirled at this sudden and unexpected development. The hall was abuzz with excitement. In the corner of his vision, he spotted Ruri, attempting to leap on stage with a terrifying expression, and Hazumi desperately trying to hold her back. But he didn't have the luxury of paying attention to them right now. His whole body stiffened, pinned down by Clara's movements. She seemed to find his reaction amusing, as she rolled her skirt up faster to her thigh. CL Clara. He wheezed, forcing his eyes shut. Then, as his vision darkened, he heard her laugh. Mwahaha. Don't worry, Mushiki. I am wearing a swimsuit. A swim dash? He opened his eyes, and sure enough, peeking out from beneath her skirt was the very same swimsuit she had worn in the video when she had taken a bath with some slimes. I'd really love to show you more, but I am in the middle of a live stream. If I was wearing normal underwear, the video would get taken down, you know? It's weird, don't you think? I mean, they show the exact same amount of skin. It's discrimination against undies if you ask me, she said absent-mindedly. Mushiki, ill at ease, glanced away. Why yeah. Well, that certainly was a swimsuit, but as she said, it didn't look all that much different from actual underwear. It was still powerfully stimulating. Perhaps having noticed his discomfort, Clara's face relaxed as she broke out into a grin. Oh no. Are you embarrassed, Mushiki? You re so cute, she said jokingly. With that, she began to loosen her uniform tie and set about undoing the buttons on her blouse one by one. What are you dash? Oh. I am wearing a swimsuit on top as well, so don't worry. But. Pausing there, she took off her school uniform, her pale stomach and breasts hidden behind no more than a flimsy swimsuit. It was a bathing suit, all right, but all the same, it was unbelievable and somehow immoral to see it come to light from under a school uniform. If anything, it would have been more appropriate just to be wearing the swimsuit by itself. See? She asked, emphasizing her chest as she drew closer. Without even realizing it, Mushiki took a half step back. Wah dash. Before he knew it, he stumbled over, landing flat on his butt with a soft plop. Yes, this was the sofa that Sylvelle had prepared just a moment earlier. Ah, perfect. I couldn't have hoped for a better position, Clara said, wriggling her hips to lean into the sofa as though to block his escape route. The sweet fragrance of her hair and skin as well as her faint breath seemed to caress his every pore. Mushiki found himself short of breath, his heart pounding in his chest. This was getting too dangerous. If he had been in his Saika mode, all this stimulation would have immediately triggered a state conversion back into his original form. Mushiki. If you choose me, I'll show you everything, you know. Away from the camera, where it's just the two of us, Clara whispered in a sweet, seductive voice as she leaned in closer. Her cherry-colored lips were directly before him. No. And no. We can tea. At that moment, the buzzer sounded throughout the hall. Her 5-minute allocation to appeal to his heart was up. And that's it. Clarin, you were so bold there. As your big sister, I think even I felt a slight thrill. Sylvelle said, twisting her body shyly as her cheeks turned red. With that, the audience let out their collective breath, as though only now remembering that this was all just a contest. Well, those 5 minutes went by pretty quickly, huh? But you know what? I got to see Mushiki acting cute, so I am happy, Clara said with a laugh as she jumped down from the sofa. She still hadn't T-buttoned her blouse back up, and a barrage of camera flashes came from the spectators. Oh yeah. Peace. Double peace. Yet when Clara realized how exposed she was, instead of covering her chest, she started posing for the photographers. Mushiki was unable to move for a few seconds, but finally, as though breaking loose from his bonds, he managed to breathe again and rise to his feet. His legs were still trembling. At that moment, Kuro approached him. Are you okay, Mushiki? She asked. Why yeah. Somehow. But, again just to appeal to me. Really? There are various methods. The difficult part will be not overstepping the rules. By the way. Yes? He asked with his head tilted. Then, out of nowhere, Kuro pinched the back of his hand. Ow. It had happened so suddenly that he ended up crying out in alarm. Sylvelle, startled, blinked a few times. Is something the matter, Mucky? Ah. No, it's nothing. He tried to brush the question aside, turning to Kuro in confusion. What was that about? There was a mosquito on you. Shouldn't you swat it then, instead of pinching? It's Saika's turn next, she said lightly, ignoring his remarks as she approached the back of the stage. Lady Saika should return in a moment. Mushiki, please wait out there. Ha? Ah, right. He nodded. With those words, Kuro vanished backstage. Of course, he knew better than anyone that Saika wasn't either waiting to reappear. No, the Saika who had been participating in this contest thus far was none other than himself. Kuro seemed to have a plan of some kind, but what on earth could it be? Ha? Before he knew it, he cried out in a wild voice. Just a few minutes after Kuro had left, a hand poked out from beyond the door at the back of the stage, delicately wriggling its fingers. That hand is that Madam Witch. Hushed murmurs began to course through the audience. Yes, it was clear as day from its majestic movements that the hand belonged to Saika Kuozaki herself. Sachi? You come on stage? Sylvelle asked. To all appearances, Saika's hand beckoned to him slowly, bewitchingly. Well. I suppose this should be okay. Sachi is on the offensive, so let us start the countdown. Sylvelle declared. With that, the hand motioned elegantly with a casual fluidity even more mesmerizing than before. It was practically calling out to him. Ah! His eyes widened, and like a moth drawn to flames, he found himself staggering unsteadily toward the gesturing hand. He knew full well that it wasn't Saika who was waiting for him. Yet he could only see the hand as belonging to her. Then, what are you doing, Kuro? He whispered softly after disappearing backstage to an area where he could see her in her entirety. Yes. The hand that everyone had taken for Saika actually belonged to Kuro, who had vanished from sight a few minutes earlier. Well, it was only natural that everyone had fallen for it. After all, that hand was moving according to Saika's own will, complete with her own peculiarities and mannerisms. Due to the nature of the contest, both Saika and Mushiki must be present on stage at the same time, Kuro explained. This is the only way. Ah. I guess that makes sense, he murmured, lowering his voice so no one outside could overhear. By the way, she added, her eyes narrowing. You seem to enjoy Clara's charms just now. Ha! You've been acting like you would naturally choose Saika, but that looked like a close call to me. Wouldn't he, you say? And no, I was just. I am not blaming you. No, rather, I should commend Clara for putting up such a good fight. She paused for a moment. The word defeat doesn't belong in the same sentence as the name Saika Kuozaki. Even in a match as ridiculous as this. You understand that, I trust? Why yes, of course. Once the time limit is up, I'll go back on stage and say Saika won. That one be enough. Ha! His eyes bulged from their sockets as Kuro began to unbutton her uniform. Kuro? What are you? He had been left stunned by how quickly this was all proceeding, but that didn't stop her from removing her uniform. She must have been wearing 2 layers of clothing, as underneath she had on a bathing suit. In the dimly lit space behind the stage, which otherwise would have been completely exposed, the sight was so extraordinary that Mushiki felt himself swooning. Ha! You His sense of reason couldn't keep up. As he stared at her, he could feel his face burning up. Then Kuro glanced down at her outfit and said plainly, "Oh, this? I got it ready during Clara's 5 minutes. And no, I mean, why would you even?" He stammered. She stepped forward, pressing him up against the wall. I told you. Just saying Saika won isn't enough. That isn't true victory. It is a pity I am not in my real body, but I want you to mean it when you say Saika took the prize. Hold on. He lifted his hand, hoping to stop her from coming any closer, but alas, it soon met something soft. Kuro opened her lips, her cheeks faintly pink as she gave him a soft smile. Let us cry out in a loud voice, at least, for I will make of you my bride. What's going on? That hand. Are you sure it was Madame Witchess? Hizumi asked in confusion. Ruri, sitting beside her, stroked her chin as she narrowed her eyes and thought. Yes, there's no doubt about it. You could tell from her atmosphere. That was definitely Madame Witch, she said confidently. I see, Hizumi responded with trepidation. The students sitting around them nodded along, reassured by Ruri's strong conviction. If Fuyojo thinks so, it must have been her, their expressions all but declared. So Kuga was lured backstage by Madame Witch. Yes. Knowing Madame Witch, she must have had some profound reason, Ruri continued, when Mushiki cried out loud enough for everyone in the audience to clearly hear him. Ruri's eyes shot open at this unexpected reaction. It wasn't long before the buzzer sounded to announce the end of Saika's 5 minutes. And an exhausted-looking Mushiki staggered back on stage. Maki. Are you all right? What happened back there? 100%. Ha! Saika wins. 100%, he murmured before collapsing with an audible thud. Mushiki woke up with a start, suddenly lurching upright from the floor. It looked like he had lost consciousness for a moment. Glancing around, he recognized that he was on stage in the multipurpose hall. With that realization, it all came flooding back to him. Are you okay, Maki? Sylvelle asked worriedly. He placed a hand on his forehead. I am all right, he answered. How long was I out for? Only around a minute. But we were worried. What happened? What happened? He suddenly frowned, his thoughts going in circles. He couldn't help but feel that something incredible had taken place, but he couldn't quite remember what. Ugh, my head. Oh. Don't overdo it, Maki. Anyway, you said the second round also goes to Sachi, right? Sylvelle asked, hurrying him along. Come to think of it, he did recall having declared Saika the winner. He gave a weak nod. In short, Saika had won 2 of the 3 rounds. In other words, she had won the match. But just as he was about to clench his fist in triumph, that Sr. Sachi. She has snatched victory yet again, winning another 2 points. But the match isn't over yet. The winner of the 3rd round will be awarded a full 100 points. Huh? Why? He stammered, taken aback by this nonsensical allocation of points. Sylvelle, however, tilted her head as though she didn't quite understand the question. Eh? Why what? No, it's just, Saika already won 2 out of 3. But he stopped himself there. Sylvelle's earlier explanation resounded in the back of his mind. Once we reach the end, the entrant with the most points will be declared the winner. Yes. She hadn't said that the winner would be whoever won the most rounds, nor did she actually specify how many points would be awarded each time. But that's not. Ha! He murmured, feeling threatened by this odd revelation. Phew! Clara, however, let out a sigh of relief. Ah, I totally thought I was done for. Lucky. I am gonna wager everything on the 3rd round. She declared to the audience as roaring cheers. It looked like there were a few individuals who felt uncomfortable with the dubious rules, but their misgivings were drowned out by the excitement of those around them. Mushiki glanced toward Koro, his gaze all but asking what he should do now. She looked away, letting out a weak sigh. I do agree it is somewhat unfair, but Sylvelle has decided the rules, so we don't have any other choice but to play along. Then, after a short pause, she added, no matter how many rounds it takes, Saika will never allow herself to be defeated. The audience, overhearing this, only grew even more heated. Clara gave a soft whistle. Wow! You sound so cool saying that. Almost like Madame Witch herself. I am honored, Koro responded coldly. A poised comeback after being caught off guard. Mushiki would have expected no less of her. Well, if she was willing to go along with this, then he had no right to complain. In the first place, he was currently in his own body, not Saika's. Ha? Isn't Madam Witch coming back? Clara asked, glancing over her shoulder to the back of the stage. She had to go save the world again, Koro responded without the slightest hint of unease. Seriously? The world is always in danger, huh? Mushiki couldn't tell whether she had actually accepted this hollow excuse. No one else but Saika would have been able to get away with such a paper-thin pretext. Perhaps hoping not to prolong this discussion, Koro turned to Sylvelle. So she won't mind if we move on. Sylvelle sis. What is the final round? Right. The AI beamed, positively overflowing with energy. The 3rd round is the power to protect those who matter most to you in times of crisis. Those who matter most to you. Koro repeated. Power. Clara echoed in turn. Sylvelle gave the 2 a firm nod as she spread her arms wide. Yes. Funnily enough, both Sachi and Clarin are taking part in tomorrow's exhibition match. The winner will be the one whose school comes out on top. Ha! Echoed a mix of voices in perfect unison. What? It wasn't just Mushiki and Clara. The entire hall cried out in mutual shock. But that was to be expected. Of course, they might end up inviting considerable criticism, using the exhibition match to settle a personal dispute. But on the other hand, the entire affair had already descended into little more than a tenuous excuse to challenge Saika Kuozaki's proficiency in magic. Ha ha. Her lips curling into a faint smile. Clara. He tried calling out uncertainly. No, I am fine, she answered with a wave of her hands. There's nothing wrong with me. It's just. I mean, can this kind of thing actually happen? What do you mean? He asked with a confused grimace. I mean, she said with a deep nod. I don't think I'd really stand much chance against Madam Witch in a real fight. But tomorrow's match is gonna be different. Her participation is conditional, and we got our new students to lend a hand. And most of all. She paused, raising her right hand overhead. With that, her flying cell phone fell straight into her palm, as though sucked from the air. Then, Mushiki gawked in disbelief. The magical energy emanating from her body suddenly swelled, rising sharply in intensity. Ah, Madam Witch. Thanks to you, I've got more viewers now than ever before. This live stream of us duking it out over Mushiki, well, I would have been shocked if it hadn't taken off. Still, if I am being honest, this is even better than I was expecting. Clara? Your magical energy, Mushiki began. She broke into a grin. Yep. There's no need to hide it anymore. Clara here knows a little something called influenced array technique that keeps on increasing my strength and power as more people take an interest in me. And you know what? I've never been more popular. What? In other words, you challenged Lady Saika just to livestream this whole affair and boost your own strength? Koro asked, her gaze piercingly cold. Clara shook her head. Don't get me wrong, I really am head over heels for Mushiki, I am not about to give him up, heck, I am completely serious about this. But you see, the thing is, I am still a student at the tower, right? What was the saying? If I can power up and beat the garden at the same time. It'll be killing two birds with one stone? Or is it running after two hares? She paused there, holding her phone from above as she positioned herself in the camera frame. Yes, she was taking a selfie. So thanks to Madam Witch, I am ready to go. Claramates, tomorrow's exhibition match is gonna be a must-see event. She said with a wink. Then, turning her gaze to Mushiki and flashing him a mysterious smile, she added, "It's time to go witch hunting." Chapter 4, Must Watch, the exhibition match begins. That morning, the sound of birds chirping could be heard even clearer than usual. One night had passed since the festival held before the main event. The grounds of the garden were quiet and still, as though to belie the hectic hustle and bustle of the previous day. The students who had been jostling about here and there across the campus just a half day before were now nowhere to be seen. But that was to be expected. After all, this was all soon to become a battlefield. Mushiki took a deep breath to calm his mind before looking around once more. He and the others were standing in front of the research building located at the far end of the garden's eastern precinct. The tall structure, seemingly composed of a bundle of looming spires, cast a distinctive shadow over the plaza. 4 figures were waiting there in total, all of them wearing uniforms similar to his own. This, however, was their first time meeting him face-to-face as Mushiki Kuga. Yo! So you the new transfer student? I've heard rumors about you. I am Tuya Shinazuka, a third year. Thanks for coming today, said a tall male student as he held out his hand in greeting. Tuya Shinazuka. Unlike Mushiki, he had been chosen to represent the garden the acceptable way. Ah yes. Mushiki Koga. Nice to meet you, he said, shaking the older youth's hand. Shinazuka's grip was firm, his smile lively and refreshing. Then the female student a short distance behind her male counterpart gave a quick bow. I am Anoka Moegi. I'll try not to get in your way, she said in a fearful voice, her body turned slightly away from him and her gaze wavering as she stared at the ground. Yes. Thank you. I am not very experienced when it comes to this stuff, but I'll do my best, Mushiki replied. Anoka, still embarrassed, lowered her head, her long bangs obscuring half her face. Like Tuya, she, too, had been chosen to represent the garden. She seemed a little shy, but she must have been highly capable as a mage. After greeting the 2 students, Mushiki found himself sighing in relief as he put his mind at ease. He had been worried that, given how conspicuous he had been the day before, his fellow representatives might have misgivings about him, but neither Tuya nor Anoka had shown any sign of ill will toward him. Well, he couldn't say what they might have been feeling deep inside, but it was nice to see that they were both willing to build a positive relationship with the team. Even if only at a surface level. After all, they were all now allies fighting for the same cause.
Only the first half hour is uploaded to YouTube. The transcription was generated with Whisper and censored using Google AI to comply with the platform. This project is completely free at free.jupiteraudiobooks.com, where we upload complete projects and you can make free requests. If you prefer an ad-free experience, want to listen to exclusive novels, or need your requests processed much faster, visit our premium version at jupiteraudiobooks.com. Also, we have a PDF library at euronovels.bokuboi.com. We hope you enjoy it.